All right, this is skills homework 2-5, so it is due on Thursday. I think in most of the classes we did number 1 together in class, so let's look at number 2. Let's practice on it. All right, so we have 9 1/3 minus 4 5/6. All right, so on every single problem, if we're adding or subtracting fractions, we have to have a common denominator. So we have to find something that 3 and 6 will both go into. So we always check the biggest number. So our biggest number is 6, so yes, 3 will go into 6. So I'm going to use 6 as my common denominator, which would mean this whole fraction, this whole mixed number, stays the same. So to get from 3 to 6, that would be times 2. So I'm going to multiply 1 times 2. Oops. So now I have 9 2/6 minus 4 5/6. So I have to start with the fraction. If I have 2/6, I can't take away 5/6. So if I have 2, I can't take away 5. So I have to borrow one of these, which makes that an 8. Now when you borrow it, remember we talked about in class that the one whole number that I borrowed, I'm splitting it into 6 sections. So if I'm adding 6 sections to this right here, I'm adding 6 pieces to the 2 pieces I already have. So instead of 2, I now have 8 pieces because I added 6 and the 2 together. So now I have 8 minus 5 would be 3/6. 8 minus 4 would be 4. And since 3/6 can be simplified, then I'm going to get 4 1/2. So now I'm going to look over here on this, find 4 1/2, which would be right here on the top row, and mark it off. So I'm going to mark off all of my answer choices that I get, and then whatever's left over will go in the riddle at the bottom, in the blanks. All right, let's try another one. Let's do number 12. So number 12 is 5 1/6 minus 3/10. Okay, so I have to find something that 6 and 10 will both go into. Okay, take your biggest number, 10. 6 does not go into 10 evenly. So think about all of your multiples of 10. You have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I want to know which of those 6 will go into. Okay, I could get all the way to 60, but also they both go into 30. So I'm going to change both of my fractions to have a 30 on the bottom. To get from 6 to 30, that would be times 5. So I have to multiply the top number by 5. And this whole number stays the same. To get from 10 to 30, I would multiply by 3. So 3 times 3 would be 9. Okay, if I only have 5 pieces, I can't take away 9. So I have to take one of these. Now when I take that, I'm going to cut that one whole that I just borrowed into 30 pieces. So I already had 5 pieces, plus 30 more gives me 35 pieces. So now 35 minus 9 would be 26. And 4 minus nothing would be 4. Okay, I can simplify, divide both of those by 2. So that gives me 4 13/15. Let's see, did I mess up somewhere? Okay, it's 15 1/6, not 5 1/6, so this would be 15. So when you borrow 1, you have 14. So 14 minus nothing would be 14 3/15. So there's 14 3/15, so mark it off. All right, let's look at the 2 word problems here at the bottom. Les Anderson sets a record when he caught a salmon that weighed 97 1/4 pounds. Robert Wilson caught a salmon that weighed 74 9/16 pounds. How much less than the record was this? So we are subtracting those two. So we have This is number 13. 97 1/4 minus 74 9/16. Okay, again, so we need a common denominator. Look at your biggest number, 16. 4 does go into 16, so I'm going to leave the bottom number alone because it already has a 16 on the bottom. I'm going to make this top number have a 16 on the bottom. So that would be times 4. So I would have to multiply the top number by 4. So I have 4 minus 9. I can't do that. So this is going to become 96. And I'm going to cut this one that I borrowed into 16 pieces. So if I already have 4 pieces and now I have 16 more, that gives me 20. So 20 minus 9 would be 11/16. 96 minus 74 would be 22 11/16. Okay, number 14. Let's look at it. A cabinet has shelves that are 11.5 inches apart. On one shelf, Mike stacked a VCR that is 5 1/4 inches high on top of an amplifier that is 3 3/8. How much space is left above the VCR? So he put the VCR and the amplifier in there. On one shelf, he stacked the VCR that is 5 1/4 inches high on top of an amplifier that is this. So the space that's left is whatever's left over if you take away both of those from the 11.5. So we're going to have to add the 3 3/8 plus 5 1/4, and then we're going to take that answer away from 11.5. Okay, so let's add these together. So this one already has a common denominator. Or this one already has the denominator that we need of 8. So I'm going to make this one have an 8. So that would be times 2 times 2. Since we're adding, makes it a little bit easier. So we have 8 and 5/8. And we're going to take that away from 11.5, sorry. So we have 11.5 minus 8 and 5/8. Common denominator would be 8. Look at your biggest number. So if I made this have an 8 on the bottom, that would be times 4. So 1 times 4 is 4. So 11 4/8 minus 5/8. So I need to borrow one of these. The one that I borrow, I'm cutting into 8 pieces. So I have 8 pieces plus the 4 pieces. That gives me 12. So now subtract. Subtract 12 minus 5 and 10 minus 8. And then your denominator stays an 8. All right, let's look at the ones on the back. You spent $45 on CDs. Hold on. You spent $45 on CDs. The sales tax will be 8.2%. How much is your total bill? All right, remember with percents, we change the percent to a decimal by moving it back to and multiplying. So we have 45 times 0.082. Now, when you get your answer, that's only your tax. It says, what is your total bill? So we need to take your tax and add it to the $45. And then that is your final answer. Number 16, if an item costs $41.04, including an 8% sales tax, what was the cost of the item before taxes? Okay, so after you've added the taxes to it, then it's $41.04. So what I would do is I would take, we know we're going to change this to a decimal, so it'd be 0.08. So I would multiply these by 0.08 to get your tax and add it to this and see which one gives you 41.04. Okay, just a little hint, I would start in the middle with either G or H. Oh, no, wait. If we went in order, they would be 36, 37, 38, 39. So I would start with G or J, one of those two, and then you know whether you need to go higher or go lower. So let's try J. So 37 times 0.08, 24. So the tax would be $2.96. So if it was 37 plus $2.96. So that would give me $39.96. Well, I know that's not enough. So it can't be J, but I also know it can't be F because I've got to go higher than $37. So now try 38 or 39. All right, over here, number 17. The tax table for a married couple filing jointly for taxable income between $68,400 and $68,650 is shown below. The Davis family has a combined taxable income of this. Their combined withholding was this. Which statement is true based on the table above? All right, so remember we have to find where this fits. So 68,457 would be on this bracket right there. So this is what they owed together on their taxes. They've already paid this much. So this is what they owe right here. This is what they paid already. So you need to decide, did they overpay or do they still owe, and then subtract to find how much they either overpaid or how much they still owe. Okay, number 18, same way. Here's your taxable income. So we need to find where that fits on the table. So that would be right here between those two. Because 36, they all say 36,000, so 189 is between 150 and 200. So they owe this much in taxes. They've already paid this much. How much more do they still need to pay? So this is what they owe. That's what they've paid. So subtract it to see what they still owe on their taxes.